Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Richard Bowen from Digital Niche Agency, and today I have the pleasure of doing this webinar with founder, president, CEO, Daniel Ash of MoJoose. How are you doing today, Daniel?
I'm doing great. Thanks, Richard. Thanks for setting this up for us today. Appreciate it.
No problem, no problem. And before we get started, I just want to give some disclaimers. Some people know if you've attended past webinars that we can't speak to anything terms-based based on compliance reasons. So what I'm going to do is drop the Start Engine raise page right here in the chat. So if anyone wants to see anything that's financial based on terms and stuff like that, you're more than welcome to go ahead and jump and look at the Start Engine race page. So Daniel, where are you checking in from? I'm checking in from sunny South Florida today. How are you doing?
South Florida. Oh yeah, we're down in Southern California. We're Orange County. Our office is actually in Aliso Viejo. So we've been getting a lot of rain over the last week. So not as much as Northern California, but we've been hit pretty good this week with rain, but nice and sunny here today. So we're here in sunny California most of the time.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And yeah, so, let's just give it a couple seconds for a few people to come in. I'm definitely excited for today's webinar, and this webinar will be recorded. So, in the coming days, you will be seeing a webinar recap around this posted on, social platforms as well as other channels as well. So with that being said, Daniel, let's jump right into it.
All right. Thanks, Richard. So what I thought we would do is we'll play the video from the Start Engine video that gives a little bit of an overview, and then we'll jump into the PowerPoint slides after that. So let's see. And how does that look on my good on the screen?
Yeah, that's perfect.
Right, since 2020, approximately 85 million people work from home. Of that, around 13.2 million are experiencing daily internet connectivity issues, and 72% of us still experience drop calls, weak cell signals, and slow data connections on a regular basis. As a result, the demand for cell signal boosters has increased by 200%. MoJoose has developed a 4-in-1 smartphone case to solve that problem. MoJoose is the only protected phone case with a built-in signal amplifier, and we're the only ones patented to do it. It also charges your phone and reduces phone radiation. It's approved by Apple's MFI program, and we believe it is the only device of its kind approved by the FCC. I used to lead a cell phone signal amplifier team at Hewlett-Packard and worked with PowerWave Technologies, a leader in cell tower amplifier products. When I worked from home, I only had service while standing next to my kitchen sink. I thought to myself, with my experience in the industry, why not shrink a signal amplifier to fit inside a phone case? MoJoose was born. To date, we've raised over $7 million, received 10 granted patents, earned 6 CES Innovation Awards, and have already sold thousands of units during our pilot launch. Comparable home signal boosters cost from $400 to over $1,000, require a complicated installation process. MoJoose cases start at $99, don't require any setup, and can travel with you anywhere you go, even when there's no electricity. This means the 6.6 billion global smartphone users can be connected at home, in the office, while traveling, during emergencies, and in almost all weak signal areas.
Yes, I can hear you well now.
We're now gearing up for our commercial launch and aim to expand our case selection to cover most Apple and Samsung devices. Invest in technology that's making smartphone use more available, reliable, longer lasting, and safer. Invest in MoJoose today.
All right. Let me now share my screen here. And Richard, you see everything okay?
Yes, everything is good.
Okay, great. All right. Well, hey, thanks again. So as we get started, and we'll go through our company deck and share a lot of information. But I think before we get started, I just want to give everyone a little bit about my background. So I started in defense electronics over 30 years ago, working up in Silicon Valley, working on products like the HARM missile product, the Patriot defense missile system. You may have heard of that back in Desert Storm, and I guess it's even being looked at again right now. So kind of that was pre-cell phone days. So working in defense electronics. So right around the time cell phones started out, I was working for Hewlett Packard right when the first Motorola flip phones and the Ericssons and Siemens and Nokia phones, and we were actually building the power amplifiers, the amplifier chipset for all of those early phones. So we were actually designing and developing, and we were building over in Penang, Malaysia, about 1 million amplifiers a month back then. Late 80s, early 90s. So I then moved over to a company called PowerWave Technologies, which is down here in Southern California, which is what brought me down here. They were headquartered in Irvine, and they're the leader in cell tower technology. So I basically went from the handset side to the tower side. And during my time at PowerWave, I actually ran global operations for PowerWave, and we took the company from 100 million in revenue to just over $1 billion in revenue in a little over 5 years. And it was during my time at PowerWave that we had all of our factories in Asia, whether it was China, Thailand, Philippines, or Malaysia. I would have to do my calls in the evening with the factory. So I would come home, and the only place my cell phone would work was right by my kitchen sink. So it was notepad, cell phone, kitchen sink every evening with the factories in Asia. And that's when I said, hey, I've been in this industry since it started. There's got to be a better way. I should be able to sit at my desk and make a phone call. So I said, okay, let me look and see what is out there. So I took a look. There was at the time, and there still is, this cottage industry of, you can put an antenna up on the roof of your house, run 30 to 50 feet of cable to an indoor amplifier, indoor antenna, and you can get coverage in one room of your house. That product is $400 to $1,000 plus installation. So I thought, well, I've worked on the handset side, worked on the tower side. Why don't we try to shrink a signal booster down small enough to fit inside a phone case? So that really is how MoJoose was born. We pulled together a team of top engineers. We started running the feasibility, and we said, okay, we can build this product. We've got working samples, went out, raised some money, started writing the patents, as we'll talk about as we go through here. We have 10 granted patents. Then we said, hey, we gotta, we want to go do this. We want to get FCC certified. So we had to go through all of those different certifications basically to get to where we are today. So I just want to give you a little bit of background on kind of how we started and where we are today. So with that, I'll jump into the PowerPoint. So again, we're a California-based designer, manufacturer of a smartphone case that actually has integrated a cell phone signal amplifier small enough to fit inside a smartphone case with a battery. We're the only ones in the world doing it, and we have the patents to support that. So our case does more than just protect your phone. So introducing the MoJoose 4-in-1 case. Again, the first and only truly mobile cell phone signal amplifier that's going to give you, if you got 1 bar, we're going to give you 1 to 3 or 2 to 4. We've got over 20 dB, and you're talking technical, we have over 20 dB of gain in this active amplifier case, so we can give you those extra bars. We're giving you 100% extra battery, and we're doing that with a quick charge that charges your phone at 2.5 times faster than a standard wall outlet. We're also reducing the phone's radiation by an average of 70%. And that was part of the requirement with FCC. And it's a test called SAR testing, surface absorption rate, where you cannot add to the phone's radiation to be qualified with FCC. So we actually reduce it by an average of 70%. And we're doing all of this in a very stylish, sleek, 3.4 ounce protective case that has passed the industry standard 1 meter drop test. So this is our flagship product, and this is MoJoose. Excuse me. So our goal when we set out was let's take an amplifier, a signal booster, and shrink it down to fit inside of a case, and talked a little bit about this, but we, the results of the goal here was we are FCC certified, we're IC Canada certified, IFATEL Mexico certified, Apple MFI certified, and as far as we know, we are the only product that Apple has ever certified to have a signal amplifier in a form-fitting case on their product. It took us 9 months of working with Apple to finally get that certification. We've received 6 CES Innovation Awards. I don't know if people are familiar with the CES, but that was the show that was just last week out in Las Vegas, very big, couple 100,000 people. We've won 6 of the awards for innovative product. Again, we have 10 granted patents, 8 US patents, 2 international, and 1 pending. Very strong patent protection. So the need, we talk about, how do we help consumers? And again, simply, people have heard this tagline before, more bars and more places, but that's really what we set out to do. We said, how do we give people more bars and more places, whether it's home, office, at your kids' soccer practice or softball practice, you're driving to work, or just a long drive in a rural area, walking into a large high rise. We've all experienced that dreaded dead zone, or you're driving and you say, oh, hey, I'm going past that spot where I might have to call you back. That's the problem we're solving. So, MoJoose is providing, signal and battery when and where you need it the most. And then when we talk about the market, you talk about the TAM, the total addressable market. In 2022, when we look at the smartphone market, there's 6.6 billion smartphones globally. It's one of the biggest markets there are in the world. It's valued at $448 billion in the smartphone market. So 1.54 billion smartphones sold globally in 2021. And then for us, we said, okay, well, let's look, there's 6.6 billion smartphone users, but let's look at the battery case side. The battery case market in 2020 was estimated at 5.4 billion, and it's projected to reach 9.7 billion by 2027. Then we look at the signal booster side. On the signal booster side, 2022, 12.85 billion, expected to reach 22.8 billion by 2028. So again, these are very big market segments. And then we get to 5G. The buzz is 5G. Everyone's been talking about 5G. You can't turn on your television right now without hearing about 5G. Well, in 2020, 5G was a $5.1 billion market, and by 2030, it's expected to be just shy of $800 billion market. So very big market coming, and the MoJoose product and our portfolio of products fit very well with the new 5G technology that's coming out. When we talk about our current and future roadmaps, we currently are selling the iPhone 7, 8, the iPhone SE 2020, and the iPhone SE 2022. Upon our successful funding, within 6 months, we will have a full portfolio of the Apple products. That includes the 12, 13, and 14, and the Pro models and the Pro Max models, along with the Galaxy S22, S22 Plus, and that family of products. In North America, between Apple and Samsung, they dominate about 80% of the market. Going into year 2, obviously, we will keep up with the next generation of phones as they roll out. We will also be looking at introducing an international product. Again, our current product works for North America, Canada, US, and Mexico. And then we will also be looking at rolling out towards the back end of the second year, the actual iPhone and Galaxy 5G millimeter wave model, which is not your current 5G that's out there in the market now, but that next gen 5G that's up there at the 28 and 38 gigahertz, the ultra fast 5G. So that's the product. That's how we're rolling out our product roadmap. And then when we talk about our technology roadmap, which really dovetails in with the product roadmap, is as these new products come out, the iPhone products and the Galaxy products, we will be incorporating the wireless charging. I'm sure everyone's familiar with, that like the new iPhones have the MagSafe charging. The Galaxies have had the Qi charging for some time. So we will be incorporating that, the 15-watt charging, into the new products as they roll out. In addition to that, our current circuit board, our current what we call a printed circuit board assembly, PCBA, is what we call a discrete. You can see here, we call that a discrete, board set. We are in the process of looking to reduce that down to a chip, whether they call it a MMIC, an MMIC, or an ASIC. We're basically going to drop the size down drastically and the cost of the signal amplifier, which is the heart of the technology here. We will then be rolling in, as I talked about, into our international products in Q2. We will also be using this chipset to move into what I call the 4G and 5G Internet of Things. Everyone's heard about the IoT Internet of Things, but when you think about it, these Internet of Thing devices, whether it's a remote ATM or some diagnostics out in a oil field or a farm where they want to measure anything that's any kind of detect any kind of service there, it's only as good as that cell signal that they can get back to make that connection. So that's we've had several companies inquire about, hey, could we just buy your chip and put your chip in our device so that our hotspot can now make a better connection. So that's definitely on our roadmap. When we start moving into the end of Q2 into Q3 of the second year, we will be building a home unit for 4G and 5G for the North American market. And then we will also be building a home / mobile unit for the international market. So this is the technology roadmap, which again dovetails in with the product roadmap. And then when we talk about the competition, they always say, don't ever say that you don't have any competition. Well, we don't have any direct competition. We have competition with the battery case market, which we talked about earlier. You've got the high-end battery cases, whether it's Mophie or Apple, that are between $99 and $149. And we play very well in that battery market. We're in the same price range, and we're offering the same 100% battery, the quick charge, those same features. But then we're also adding the signal booster, which we talk about a signal booster at $399 to over $1,000 installation. So not only do we have the battery, but we have that signal amplifier that no one else has that's built into the case. So we feel like we will be competing with the battery guys, and we will be competing with the signal guys, but in a different manner. The signal boosters are stationary. It's either in your home or your car, where our product is very ubiquitous. When you get out of your car and walk to go for a hike or go to the shopping mall, you still got coverage with you, where as soon as you leave your car with a mobile unit, there's no more signal boost. Again, this is just a little bit to reiterate about how portable and mobile our product is. We talked about the current technology that's out there, where you've got this big cable, antenna on the roof of your house, and the cable and the indoor amp. And really, if you think about it, part of the reason why they have this big separation is when you start bringing these antennas close together, it's kind of like when you have a microphone and a speaker and you bring them close together and you get that feedback and it makes all kinds of feedback noise. Same thing. When you've got this amplifier in between and you bring these two antennas closer together, you're going to get feedback and oscillation and nothing's going to work. So with our patents and the way that we've designed our product, we've actually been able to shrink those antennas down to where they're only 4 inches apart. So that's really a lot of our, between our algorithm and our antenna design, we're able to compact that down into something that's going to fit inside your phone case. This is a screenshot right from Amazon's webpage. And again, this is kind of reiterating what I was just talking about on the signal booster side. You can see the $399 signal boosters, $299. And you can see that there's a bunch of hardware and installation. And then you can see there the MoJoose product, you know, Amazon choice product. And it really is snap on your phone and go. When we talk about sales strategy, on the sales strategy, e-commerce is our quickest path to revenue. And that will be, the first year will really be rolling out Amazon.com, Walmart.com, our own, our own site, MoJoose.com. And that's, that's the initial push as these new products come out. Then we will move into the airport stores. We've already been in contact with InMotion, Blue Wire, and Hudson's. Those are the three big airport stores that sell the electronics that you see if you're at any of the airports across the United States. And that's really going to help us drive brand awareness and generate additional revenue. As we move into the start of year 2, we will be looking at, the national big box retailers, whether that's Best Buy, Apple, Target, or Office Depot. Again, kind of a little bit in parallel, but we will also be engaging the regional and national telcos. That's your AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile / Sprint. And then eventually we will move into the club stores, Sam's and Costco. And again, in the United States alone, there's over these retail stores that we're talking about, there's over 30,000 retail stores in the US. And then one thing that, we just talked about the retail outlet, we call that the B2C, right to the consumer, whether it's travel or rural or just being in your home and you can't get good service. But there's a whole nother area of verticals that we've been engaging with and having talks with, and that's whether it's UPS and FedEx on the trucking and delivery side, mining up in Canada, the miners, they have to have cell coverage. It's actually there's like a law, they call it a lone worker law in Canada, that they've got to be able to have connectivity. The oil workers down in Texas. So there's a lot of different, whether it's military, there's a lot of different B2B verticals that we're actually looking at right now where we can go in and provide support. It could even be DoorDash and your delivery drivers as well. So that we see a lot of opportunity there. And we say, what's the press saying about us? We've gotten some reviews from Huffington Post and CNET and a few others, and whether they're saying tripled our battery life and doubled our signal strength. It's really nice to see some of these publications that have taken our product and run some tests on it and given us some very high reviews. I will say that we did roll out a pilot launch, 3,000 units out on Amazon, just to really get some customer feedback and adoption of the product. And we really got some great feedback. We got, whether it's a UPS driver that says he drives semi trucks and now he can get service in areas he couldn't get service in. We've got a gentleman in the oil fields that's saying now I can get signal in a limited area in the oil fields, or the lady in Canada that says I'm on vacation and I couldn't get cell coverage. I used your product, and I called home and found out that I'm gonna be having a grandson. My daughter's expecting. And so the thing is that this is a product that we designed, we developed, and we brought to market, and it's very satisfying to see these kind of reviews on a product that we've brought to market. So a lot of satisfaction there on hearing these great reviews. When we talk about manufacturing, and I'll talk a little bit, and we'll talk a little bit on some of our bios. Bob Legender, who's on my board and who's going to be heading up a lot of our activity on the manufacturing side. Couldn't be here today, but really between Bob and I, we have a lot of experience moving products offshore in our previous lives, and we're working with a very top contract manufacturer. We've known him for years, got a great relationship. So we're actually, they're giving us, like, we're a small company, but they're giving us big company terms where, 190 to 120 day payment terms. They're helping us on the whole setup of the factory and all the things that we're doing. And we're actually actively engaging right now on the supply chain side. They've just come back and identified all of the materials as we're starting to put together the commercial rollout for this next generation of products. So everything is looking very good, and we have a lot of experience in the contract manufacturing. This here is in Penang, Malaysia. That's where we're currently building, and we're going to continue to move forward in the next few months with these guys. So a little bit, I gave you guys a real, an overview of my background. I've been doing this for over 35 years. We talked about Hewlett Packard, PowerWave, MoJoose here, and just running everything from the handset engineering side, the cell tower engineering side, running global operations, and then we have Bob Legender, who, again, I said he couldn't make it here today, but Bob just recently retired from Seagate. He was the senior vice president of global supply chain, had about $10 billion worth of supply chain that he was running there at Seagate. Bob and I met at PowerWave some years back, but he also ran the whole global operation for Western Digital, lived in Singapore for 6 years, and had over 4,000 employees working with him out there in Asia. So again, Bob's going to be heading up our contract manufacturing, that whole operation side, and he's got tremendous experience in that area. When we talk about the sales and marketing side, we have a company called Target Path, which they are kind of a sales and marketing, I think they call it an accelerator, and really what they pull together experts in the sales and marketing area, and they work with early stage companies where we can go in and have an expert in whatever field that we need that expert in, but we can just use a fractional of their time. So instead of me hiring a logistics expert, I can go to Scott here, who's the founding managing partner there at Target Path, and say, hey, I need 25% of a logistics expert, or I need, currently we're using their Amazon expert. So, okay, we need 30% of this person's time, and we're paying a fractional of the fee where we don't have to actually bring those people on staff, as we're in the early stages right now. So it's been great working with them. And then one thing to note is one of the managing partners, Dina Gazarian, no hyperbole here. Dina really is a rock star in the consumer electronics space. She's the first woman on the board of CES, or the CEA, which is the association for that big CES show that I was just mentioning. She's now the vice chair. And one of the things that most people could probably relate to is the Beats headphones, the Dr. Dre Beats headphones. That was Dina's product line that she took from 0 up to 1 billion in sales, and then that product was sold to Apple for $3 billion. So again, it's great having Scott and Dina on our team when it comes to the consumer electronics space. they are experts in this area. When we talk about our engineering team, between our engineers, between Jeremy and Nikolai, myself, and another engineer, Eugene, we've got over 45 patents in the RF cellular and cell tower technology. Jeremy, our VP of engineering, he's basically developed our current product, from the boards to the charging, all of that. He previously worked at Qorvo, which is a chip manufacturer that's working on 5G, the high-level 5G. He also worked at PowerWave with me, and he's also worked at TeleASIC, which was another leading cell tower designer. And then we have Nikolai, who is kind of our chief scientist. Nikolai has tremendous, he's a PhD with tremendous experience in designing RF amplifiers. We also worked at PowerWave. He's got over, I believe he's got over 40 years experience, and he has over 20 patents. And he's worked for some other big companies, Filtronics and Ace, and he started out in Russia, in Moscow, teaching at the University of Moscow in radio and quantum physics. So again, just a genius in the RF, and we call radio frequency in this whole RF cell phone space. So we've got a very strong engineering team. So to kind of recap and, kind of from what we just talked about. So our product, when we talk about disruptive technology, we really are the first and only truly cell phone signal amplifier that's integrated into a form-fitting battery case. You can go Google it or go take a look. You're not going to find another product like that. And we've got 10 patents to back that up. So that's, to us, that's the real differentiator from anybody else. We've raised over $7 million, and we've completed all of the development. So, private equity money that's come in and done their diligence on us, and it really helped us get through all of those. Whether it was we've gotten the MFI certification, the Apple certification, and all of those things. They all took time and money to get us to where we are now. The 10 granted patents. So again, we rolled out 3,000 units on Amazon to get kind of market validation and to get things moving here, and we've gotten a lot of great feedback. So again, $6.6 billion global market. We're going to focus on North America to start with, and then we're going to roll out internationally to the rest of the world. We've put together a world-class team of experts in every discipline of the company, whether it's global operations and high volume manufacturing, whether it's the wireless technology itself, or in the sales and marketing of the consumer electronics, as you've seen in the bios of our team. So we've really set the foundation by putting all of these building blocks in place that we're now ready for our commercial rollout. So our goal right now is to raise this next round of funding. That's further product development. That's to have those iPhone 12, 13, 14s ready to go in the next 6 months. That's to, kind of roll out our management team. And all of this will get us to profitability and to a position where we can get the company ready for acquisition or possible IPO here in the future. So what it really comes down to, I think, for people who are thinking about, would this be a good investment? The way I see it is this is not a Me Too product. You're not going to go find another signal amplifier out there anywhere in the market. So the opportunity to actually invest in something that's never been here before, and we believe that as we roll out this commercial launch to all of these new phones, that we're going to be very successful. So with that, that kind of wraps up my presentation, and I'd be happy to answer anyone's questions. So thank you.
Thank you for that amazing presentation, Daniel. Yeah, we do have a host of questions coming in right now. However, I just want to drop the for anyone that has any inquiries into anything financial based, you can go ahead and check out the raise page. Just give me one sec.
I think while you're doing that, what I would like to do here is let me see if I can show a product demo. Let's see.
Oh, perfect.
Do you see this? Okay.
Yeah, you're good to go.
Okay,
Yeah.
so easier than here's an actual the product itself, but easier than trying to do this over the Zoom call. Let me just play this 27-second video where we basically show that, flipping the switch and turning on our signal amplifier, you can actually see the bars go up on the phone. So here's a quick little
5G, and as you can see, we have 2 bars. We will now turn on the MoJoose case. And as you can see, we just moved up to 3 bars and now 4. Again, this is on AT&T 5G with the iPhone.
All right, there we go. So that's easier than me trying to do it here real time. So people can get to see that, and we do the same with Android as well. Android actually has an app where you can actually see the main tower and the secondary tower, and you can see a lot more information with the Android since they're open platform, and we have videos on that as well. But again, I'm open to answer anyone's questions that they might have.
Okay, perfect. All right. Well, someone has raised their hands, David. David, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. I think you just answered my question. I was just wondering if that was available for Android phones.
Yes, David. So the nice thing about our technology is all of the hardware that's inside the product, it goes across whether it's an Apple, Samsung, Pixel, Motorola. The hardware is all the same. It's just getting the plastics to fit around that specific phone, but the actual antennas and amplifier and the way that all of our software and our algorithms and our firmware work, it cuts right across all of the platforms.
Yeah, okay. I might I got a Samsung 13A now, I believe the model is, and I'm planning going up probably to at least 21 or probably a more recent one because okay, I guess put down the details where and begin like new hearing aids. If I get a better model phone, then I'd be able to the phone calls will be able to transfer directly to those hearing aids.
Right. Yeah, and we have to, by the way, part of FCC's approval for us is that we have to pass all of the hearing aid compliance. I didn't mention that, but part of the, getting through one of the things that I probably didn't mention, or maybe I did mention, but when we went to the FCC and said, we want to build this product and we want to put it on the phone, they said, there's never been rules like this before. We've never seen a product like this. So it took us a year working with the guys in Washington, DC, and they wrote new rules just for our product. And part of the testing that we've had to do is, the big one was SAR testing, the surface absorption, that's the radiation test. And another test was hearing aid compatibility. So we've had to run through just as many, if not more, tests than a cell phone has to run through to make sure that when you've attached our case to your phone, we're enhancing the phone and we're not hindering it in any way. So
Awesome.
hopefully I answered your question.
So we have a couple more questions here. So what other significant partnerships does MoJoose currently have? Are there any plans to partner with Uber or any type of driving app that utilizes phones?
Great question. Great question. Thanks for that. So everything right now is preliminary, but we have had some preliminary talks with Uber, and we've had some preliminary talks with some of your other movers out there, as far as like FedEx and UPS, your delivery services. So everything is everything is early stage, but we've had a lot of interest. We've had a lot of interest in those areas, as well as whether it's been the big box stores, say the Best Buy. They're like, look, as soon as you've got the iPhone, the latest iPhones ready, we're ready to to put you on the shelf. But we also see a big demand, or a big opportunity for some of those rural areas that we talked about, whether it's the Texas oil fields or some of these mining and forestry areas up in the north, whether it's Canada or up in those areas. So lots of conversations going on, but everything's kind of in the preliminary stages right now.
Awesome. Has the success been regarding the device sales on Amazon?
The device sales on Amazon, we built 3,000 units to test out the product. We've sold actually a little over 3,000 units out on Amazon, and real happy with the reviews that we've been receiving. So that was, the 3,000 was really the validation launch, and that was actually just really getting moving. And we had a little bit of, COVID put a little bit of a damper on that from the supply chain side and all of that. But now everything's back on track and looking well.
Is there any other smartphone manufacturer that you license your technology to, like Apple or a Samsung?
Absolutely. If it makes good business sense, we would look at licensing our technology to, whether it's Apple or Samsung or Google, or even some of these companies that are building the hotspots where they would like to, they've come to us, and, you've heard where companies will have, like, it'll say Intel inside. It could be like MoJoose inside, where we're basically licensing our chipset and our antenna design, so that it can, that it can benefit them, whether it's a hotspot or even licensing the whole technology for a form-fitting case. Yeah, we're open to any of those avenues, as long as it makes good business sense. Our main objective is to get this product out into people's hands, because most people don't know that there's a product that they can actually put on their phone and flip a switch and grab a couple more bars of signal. I just one quick example. Back in October, my son and I were up in Oregon for a big football game. There were 60,000 people in the stadium there at University of Oregon for the Ducks versus UCLA. And I had the case on my phone, and my son, who was right there next to me, didn't have a case. And I'm streaming data, and his phone is just locked up spinning. It wouldn't do anything. And I have a way to put the phone into what we call field test mode, where I can actually see what frequency, how much bandwidth I have. And I was running on a 20 megahertz bandwidth, and he was only running on a 5 megahertz bandwidth, because his phone wasn't able to go out and get that better signal that I could get with the case. So he was like, Dad, you should be videoing this right now, because look at this, my phone won't work and yours does, and you've got the case on. So another example of how I'd like to get this out into people's hands so that then they can actually see the benefit for themselves.
Awesome. So what has been your biggest challenges and how did you overcome them?
What has been our biggest challenges? I think that we were really gaining gaining a lot of momentum right when COVID hit. So I think one of our biggest challenges was the fact that everything shut down. I mean, literally, we had our iPhone 10 and 11 cases in final testing out in Shenzhen, China at the Apple facility. And we got notice that they closed the factory. And it's like, wait a minute, we're ready to launch our next product. We're gaining momentum. And then it was like, hey, those products are, they're stuck out there in the factory that's been shut down. So some of the, and some of those things, some things are in our control and some things are not in our control. So that was one that, okay, we're going to have to kind of wait till those factories start opening back up. But we've been able to recoup from that. Like I said, we're working closely with our contract manufacturer. We're getting all of our supply chain in place, making sure that we have all of the supply that we need so that as we start to commercially roll out, there's no gotchas as we go forward. So I think that was a big one for us. Just all of a sudden everything halted.
Definitely. Maneuvering out of the pandemic was probably one of the hardest things for many businesses, and I'm glad you guys were able to do that. So, speaking about, markets and, company growth, are there any other markets that you see MoJoose stepping into?
We, as I mentioned in the technology roadmap side, we plan on, obviously the product that we're rolling out now, but when we talked about the technology side, we are looking at moving into, two things. One, we're looking at moving into, again, reducing to a chipset where we can get into the Internet of Things. Also looking at a home, kind of a home version, kind of our version of a home version, which is a smaller, low cost, high performance solution. And some of that is driven by some of the conversations we've been having with some folks over in like India, where India doesn't have a lot of infrastructure. So they're saying, hey, can you provide us a lower cost solution in not just in your mobile case, but in a home unit where, it can be subsidized by the carriers, because they want to use something like this as a retention tool to keep their, they want to keep their subscribers. And if they can have a solution that gives better, people better cell coverage. So we are looking at moving into that, into the not just be the case that's form fitting, but also a home unit. And then we're also looking at, as we're developing, not just for this current 5G, but the future 5G is really, everyone talks about, 5G is going to be so fast, and it's very fast. But the way RF signals work is the higher the frequency, the faster it is, but the shorter distance it can travel. So as we go up in frequency, because we want faster data, it doesn't penetrate through walls as easy. It doesn't go very far. So the need for, whether it's a signal booster that's form fitting on your phone, or one that you have at your home, the need for signal boosting for whatever method is going to only increase as 5G rolls out. So that's why I was talking about, when we've got a $800 billion 5G market rolling out, the demand for signal boosters is going to increase exponentially.
Amazing. Thank you for that, Daniel. So an anonymous attendee asked, what sets you apart from competitors, if you might say, because I know you went into that earlier, you don't really have any direct competition, but what sets you apart?
So I think that if, again, just to keep it kind of simple, if we just said, okay, the battery case guys are your competitor. Okay, well, if their case, if they have an actual MFI certified case, which a lot of these cases that are coming out of China are not MFI certified, and I'm surprised that Apple hasn't shut them down yet because they're knocking off Apple's connector. But if you're Apple certified, which we are, and the reputable companies like Mophie and Apple makes their own battery case, I mean, those are $99 to $129. Well, we're right there in that same slot, same price point, but we're adding signal boosting. So we feel like that's our differentiator. So when we're competing against the battery guys, we're like, look, if we're both offering the exact same battery, but I'm giving someone an extra 2 bars of signal and you're not, and we're at the same price point, why wouldn't you buy the one that's giving you more for the same? You're getting more value, I believe, for your dollar on the battery side. When you go to the signal booster side, now you're talking about products that are, $300 or $400 up to over $1,000 plus installation, and they're very stationary. So, okay, you can buy one of these $1,000 or $500 units, install it in your house, and you have coverage in one room of your house. But what happens when you go upstairs, or you go out to the garage, or you go out in the street, or where? I mean, our product it's very ubiquitous it's with you. We don't, it's not fixed to whether you're in your car or in your home. So not only do we have a much lower price point, we feel like we just have we really are truly mobile from that perspective. So we believe we compete very favorably in both of those. Those would be our two competitive, our two competitive markets.
Amazing. We have another question here from an anonymous attendee. What has been MoJoose's biggest accomplishment so far as a company?
Good question. Very good question. I would say the biggest accomplishment has been, there's two FCC certification, and probably number one is Apple MFI certification. Obviously, the 10 granted patents and having, a working product that we're seeing, great reviews and all of that. But it was very, very hard for us to get FCC certification. Again, when you go to these guys and, it's the federal government, and we had to go to Washington, D.C., and they're like, we've never seen this product before. And it was literally a year of staying on that with them and having them run tests and running tests together and basically writing new rules only for our product till they finally gave us the blessing to get our first product certified. Once that was set, the next product got certified in like 3 weeks, because now the foundation was set. As long as you meet all of these criteria, whether it's the radiation criteria, the EMI, the electromagnetic emissions that you have to meet, the hearing aid tests, all of those things. Once we met all those, then we were able to get that certification. But then again, I would say Apple's MFI program, it's a very rigorous, hard program to pass. And for Apple to come back after 9 months of working with them and giving us approval to move forward that was probably one of the biggest milestones of our company, because if they came back and said no, we wouldn't be able to put our case on an iPhone, which would have been very detrimental to our company. So those two certifications really allowed us to actually move forward with this technology, which, again, no one else has ever done this before. No one else has Apple certification like this, and no one else has FCC, as far as we know.
Awesome. Thank you for that answer, Daniel. That's something amazing. It speaks to your company traction, and it's definitely something that you guys should be proud of. So, you know, we have time for a couple more questions. I really love this question here that was asked. Is there an opportunity for the case to be sold, you know, at companies such as T-Mobile, Verizon, and AT&T? I know you spoke to it a little bit earlier in the presentation, but probably this person hopped in late.
Yeah. Yeah, no, great question. Great question. No, we do see that as a big opportunity. I think that you know, as we move forward, whether it's T-Mobile or Verizon or AT&T, I mean, me personally, I think T-Mobile could really benefit from our product. But even Apple, it was only maybe a month or two ago, I was at the Apple store, and I was showing the person, wanted to know what I did, and I showed him the case, flipped the switch, the bars went all the way up, and showed them the battery part of it, and they're like, and I mean, the guy's response was, "Why are we not carrying this in our store? I could sell these all day long." So with us, it's like we got to walk before we run. We've got to get the whole goal here is to get some funding in so that we can build the 12, 13, and 14, which the nice thing is Apple from 12 on, they've standardized on the size of the phone. So we build one case and it covers 12, 13, and 14. And we build one case that covers 12, 13, and 14 Pro. So we're not chasing as many different what we call SKUs, or basically part numbers. We can build one part for Apple and it'll cover, you know, their 3 latest models is covered by one of our phone cases. So getting that in their hands is what's going to move us to the next level with these relationships, whether it's T-Mobile, Apple, or, you know, some of the other guys like Verizon or AT&T.
Awesome. Thank you for that answer, Daniel. So as we come into the final minutes of our webinar today, do you have anything that you want to, you know, leave our audience with? Personally, I want to know, in your own words, you know, what are the top reasons to invest in MoJoose?
Right. No, thanks for that, Richard. And again, I go back to if someone is looking at different investing opportunities, you really got to kind of look at, you know, the different aspects of it. And, you know, is the product relevant? Is it serving a need? You know, we feel like we're addressing that. Does the product have very good intellectual property, or is there protection for the property? We feel like we have that with our 10 patents. You know, we've gotten 6 of the 6 CES Innovation Awards for kind of, you know, the product itself. And, you know, we've already raised over $7 million. So there's been institutional guys, private investment, VCs that have come in and ran their due diligence and said, okay, I want to invest in a product like this. So if it's really looking at it and saying, okay, I believe that we're not a Me Too product. You know, I don't believe that when you see an opportunity for something, that we're not competing directly against anybody, because you're not going to go see another product with a signal amplifier in a case that's going to do what we do. There's not another one out there anywhere on the planet that I know of. So I think that between that and the fact that between our management team, that you've seen some of the bios, whether it's the guys with the patents or the consumer electronic experience or our operation experience, I just feel like we put every piece of the foundation together so that as we roll out this commercial launch, you know, it's going to be very successful. And I think that, you know, we'd love to have people come in and invest and be a part of our team as we take this to the next level. I mean, we're very excited about it. We've got our contract manufacturers excited. They're getting all their pieces in place right now. And so everything's fallen into place. So we just need to, you know, get things moving here. You know, 2023 is our year right now.
Awesome. And yeah, I believe we're at time today. Daniel, is there anything you want to leave our audience with today?
No, just thank you for setting this up, and thank you everyone for joining. And I hope that I answered everyone's questions. And, we are available even after this webinar. Put your questions out on Start Engine or even on our support line with MoJoose.com, and we'd be happy to continue conversations with anyone out there that would like to learn more about us. We're excited as we start this new year. So thank you very much again, Richard, for setting this up.
No problem, Daniel. It was great. So everyone, thank you for attending today's webinar, and we will be posting the recording in the days to come with a recap, as well as just any little detail that we've spoken about, some questions that were answered as well. So we look forward to giving you all of that information, just in case if you hopped in late. So Daniel, thank you so much. To everyone, Happy New Year.
All right. Thanks, Richard. Thanks, everyone. All right. Bye-bye.